Too many people use manipulative marketing techniques and call it leadership, and we get it. I mean, the name of this show is Cultish Content, but does getting sales mean that you have to sell your soul? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. But before we do,
stop burning cash on campaigns that flop and quit watching buyers bail for your competitors. Get ads that turn your prospects into brand fanatics that devour your every offer, shun your competition, and do your selling for you. The problem's not your offer, your targeting, or your creative. It's the played out marketing guru's playbook that's broken. If you're selling high ticket in a highly competitive or highly regulated market, you need something different. Discover what's actually working now at cultishcontent.com/campaigns. If you're done with launching to crickets, make your next campaign cultish. Go to cultishcontent.com/campaigns today. And now back to the show.
All right, welcome back to Cultish Content. I'm Nathan Frazier.
And I'm Lily Elizabeth.
And today we're going to be talking about some stuff that's going to make at least one or two of the viewers uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be talking about manipulation. We're going to be talking about dark psychology. And we're going to be talking about the ethical and the not so ethical implications when it comes to your marketing. So, Lily, how comfortable are you talking about this?
I'm excited. This should be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, trigger warning right up front. If you've been in abusive relationships or if you've found yourself being manipulated, or if you've listened to too many of the red pill guys dating coaches, a lot of the stuff in this episode might trigger you. So with that said, let's go ahead and just jump into it. And we're going to first cover we're going to cover the ethical things that might be manipulation. We're going to talk about the unethical things and why you should avoid them. And then we're going to go into the gray area because this is very nuanced and I don't think that it's black and white. And I want to start off the episode by saying this is kind of my rule of thumb. If I'm hiding something from somebody to get them to make a decision that I know that if they had all the information, they would make a different decision. Yeah. If I'm leading them to make a decision that they're going to later regret, that's manipulation. If I'm spotlighting the things that I want them to pay attention to, I'm not going to lie to them. If they ask me a question, I'm going to be forthright and honest about it. And I'm doing it because I want them to make a decision that I know that they're later going to rejoice. I feel like that's influence. And that's kind of how I determine, is this influence? Is this manipulation? And if you've worked with me for any amount of time, if you're a client, or Lily, you've probably picked this up.
Oh, yeah.
I play with the word manipulation, but I don't like to manipulate people. I like to influence people.
You like to say persuasion, too. It's persuasion. Not manipulation, okay? I'm persuading.
Okay, yeah. So persuasion, influence, okay with. Some of the stuff, though, that we're going to be talking about today absolutely is manipulation. I will not use these tactics, but we'll go through and explain some of them. But let's start with the ethical ones and the reason why ethical leadership is selling.
Yeah. Hit us. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So first of all, ethical leadership is a great way to build trust. It solidifies shared identity. And it brings lasting loyalty. So you're not just going after short money or quick money. You're going after long time, lasting relationships with people. In real life relationships, this is what you should be going after, unless you're in your hoe phase or whatever. But in business, I am always looking for long-term relationships. All of my clients right now have been working with me for at least 3 years, some of them 8 years. I don't like hey, let me write you some copy and then I'm out. Peace.
Yeah.
Actually, one client that we just took on recently, but different story. Anyways, so I'm a hypocrite sometimes. I'm not perfect, okay?
We're all human.
Yeah, but that secure attachment style meets a shared mission. We're in this together. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But let's start off with identity signaling. This is a big part of what makes Cultish work.
Yeah, it's what makes that tribe, those shared values, that shared identity. Mm-hmm. Oh, you get it. You got the same values as me. We want the same thing.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I first identify whenever we take on a new client is what are the shared values and what are the shared villains?
Ooh.
What are the things that you guys rally behind and what are the things that you rally against?
Totally.
And we'll do a show on this in the future. There's a book or a course by Blair Warren. And one of the things that he says in it is I'm paraphrasing, people will do anything to defend you if you make them feel validated, help them throw rocks at their enemies. Horrible paraphrasing, but we should do a full show on it. It's a great little course. But it is true. If people feel like you're on their side, and not just that you're on their side, that you're willing to stand up and speak the things that everybody else is afraid to say out loud, people will rally behind you. You plant the flag on the hill and people will die to defend that hill, even if they weren't willing to plant the flag. The fact that you were willing to, so knowing which hills do they want a flag planted on is a huge thing in building that shared identity with your tribe.
That makes sense. Once you know their values and their villains, I think it'd be easier to figure out which hills to plant that flag on.
Exactly.
You know?
It's definitely one of the first things that you should approach when you're looking at your marketing. And Lily, you like to talk about the trust factor. This is one of those things that definitely builds it. The next one, and this is kind of dovetailing off of what we were just talking about, leading by example. Don't just be one of the people in the crowd saying somebody should really plant a flag on that hill.
Oh, yeah.
Be the one that climbs the hill and plants the flag.
Yeah, you got proof equals power here. I like that.
And I think about, there was this old infomercial for a vacuum when I was a kid, and it was like, this vacuum will do this, and this vacuum cleans the air, and it had all these claims. And the way they closed the infomercial was they took the vacuum and they took a bowling ball and they filled the vacuum up with a bunch of dust and lint and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so the vacuum is all filled with all kinds of dirt and grime. And then they took the hose to the vacuum, stuck it to the bowling ball. And even though the filter was all filled with all kinds of gross, they picked up the bowling ball. So they led by example. They were like, we're not just going to tell you how great it is. Let us demonstrate it for you.
The proof is in the pudding.
There you go. So leading by example and showing demonstration, showing proof definitely helps solidify your claims. And you've got a couple of notes here.
Yeah.
First of all, let's talk about relationship parallels, how this works in a relationship.
Oh, I like this. Being emotionally stable and consistent attracts loyalty. I like that emotionally stable piece because if your audience even gets a whiff of you lacking confidence, if they think you lack confidence at all, they're going to lack tons of confidence in your offer.
Well, they already lack confidence. They wouldn't be shopping. They wouldn't be looking for a solution if they were confident that they could fix it themselves.
Yep.
So they're looking to you for confidence. And if you kind of waver, if you shake,
Wah, wah, wah.
yeah, wah, wah, you're showing them that you're not confident while you're just reinforcing their confidence. The other thing that I think about this as well is just in general, I mean, like we love excitement. We love the roller coaster ride of emotions.
Yeah.
But we also crave stability. We want to make sure that, hey, when I have a breakdown, this person isn't just going to ditch me and run off to something else.
Totally.
Guys have breakdowns too, mostly girls. Oh, there's my misogyny coming out.
Oh no, they're coming for them.
But it is important. We love the excitement. We love the ups and downs. We love the roller coaster. We love to test and play games and all of that. But we're a subtle reason as to why we do that is because we're looking for stability. And when we're looking for somebody to trust with our business, same thing. We want stability. I don't want to buy a car from a dealership and then when something goes wrong, I go back the next week, they left town.
Yep.
I don't want to buy snake oil from a carny guy who's selling it from his little wagon on the side of the road. And then next week when it made the problem worse and I go back, the wagon's not there anymore. We want stability. So that consistency, that stability. Yes, our marketing is also supposed to take you on a roller coaster ride of emotions. Oh no, what could happen if the problem gets worse? Oh my God, it's going to be so awesome when this problem is solved. We want that emotional roller coaster ride, but we also want the stability. It's kind of a weird paradox that we crave both.
Yeah, well, if I buy snake oil and then you're actually there next week when it didn't solve the problem and I can talk to you about it, that's building your authority, your trust. I'm going to come back to you. You're credible now. Yeah.
So that's the first one. Let's go ahead and move on to vulnerability versus boundaries.
Whoa.
And this one actually, this was in the ethical category, but I've seen people abuse this, and we're going to talk about it a little bit.
All right.
But being vulnerable, Scotty, one of our clients for Real Growers, he loves the phrase learning in public. Hey, I'm not perfect. I'm learning this along with you, and I'm teaching it as I'm learning it.
Yeah.
That's very vulnerable to say, hey, I'm not the expert. I'm learning this just like you guys are.
Yeah.
That shows some vulnerability, but there also has to be boundaries to it. And we'll talk about that first. But in relationships.
Oh yeah. I like this. I've been through it too. And I came out stronger. Like, we can relate to this. Don't worry. I got you. We're on the same team here. Key point. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like that. We are going to make it out stronger together.
And I think that that's important. Is a lot of times marketers will trauma dump and then try and trauma bond. Hey, we just went through this horrible thing together. Now we have this thing in common.
Oh my God, me too.
I know, right? And people do that. It's a manipulative tactic. I think that when people do it most of the time, when they're like fresh into a relationship, they don't realize what they're doing. But it's definitely a manipulation tactic.
Yeah.
And in the hopes of if we go through this traumatic experience, I relive this with this person that I'm talking to now, they're going to feel bonded to me. People do it in their marketing too. Maybe you went through this horrible thing. I think it's okay if on the other side, like you said, I went through it too and I came out stronger.
Yeah.
I'm going to share this horrible experience that I went through when 6 months ago I was living on my sister's couch and I was flat broke, and then I found this system that made everything better, and now I drive a Lambo and I've got 6 strippers hanging around the pool.
Oh yeah.
It's okay if there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
But I would say be careful about the trauma bonding and using it as a manipulation tactic, because that definitely comes through a lot in marketing, and I see it more often. And I've been guilty of it in the past. I had to check myself on it.
Busted. Yeah, I like that. I think we're all human, so it's okay to share your mistakes. It's okay to share your faults and your errors. We're all learning together. As long as there's a lesson at the end of it, that's the key part there. For
exactly.
Sure. Can't just be a negative Nancy the whole time. Okay, we got to brighten it up a little.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, it's gotta have that roller coaster. It's gotta have the highs and the lows.
Yeah,
and it's gotta end on a high.
I like that. Take them on an adventure.
But I will say, most of the time when you implement this, it does build connection. It can be a little bit manipulative. I think that's on us as marketers to check ourselves. If we are cognizant that, hey, this can be used to manipulate, and we double check and we're like, okay, I don't feel like this is manipulating. I don't feel like I'm faking the story about sleeping on my sister's couch while I was dead broke. But I do know marketers that will just make stuff up. Yeah, and it is what it is.
But then I feel like that goes back to the shared tribe, like your shared values. If you're making shit up, people aren't going to... I mean, people can tell when you're fake, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. After a while, it will work for a little bit, and then after a while, yes, people will tell that.
Yeah.
People will be able to tell you that you're fake. So let's move into that. Was the more ethical forms of influence. We're going to move into dark psychology. Ooh. And yeah,
scary.
I will say that this is very attractive to a lot of people. I feel like a lot of. You know who Andrew Tate is?
I do.
Okay. A lot of the stuff that he preaches is this type of stuff. A lot of the like red pill dating coaches teach this stuff. A lot of marketers teach this stuff because it will work, but with the caveat that it works on damaged, trauma-filled people that you really probably don't want to be surrounding yourself with. You probably shouldn't be trying. My buddy Shannon says, a lot of this stuff is guys that are insecure and have insecure attachment issues.
Right.
And they're sick of being the nice guy and getting crapped on. So then they go find somebody who tells them, oh, just be a bad boy, just be a jerk.
Oh, no.
And you'll trigger the girls that used to crap on you. You're going to trigger their instincts because they also are flawed and filled with unresolved trauma.
Yeah.
And then you go through it and you go through a bunch of unhealthy relationships, and then you're still not any happier. You solved one problem, created another problem. I feel like in marketing, this does the same thing. It might bring in a bunch of sales on the short term, but it's going to bring in a bunch of people that you don't really want in your business buying from you, obligated to serve them by taking their money. So with that caveat, let's go ahead and jump into some of the more dark psychology tactics.
Real quick, you said it attracts insecure people. I'm curious, does it also attract like unexperienced people who haven't seen this might fall for it?
Yes, it will. On an unsophisticated market, some people that are brand new to the market, they just ran into this problem. They're going to fall for the false promises of the snake oil salesman. People that are, let's say you sell a service for business owners, and it's a scam, and a brand new, somebody just starts the LLC up, they might buy your product. But they're going to be struggle bunnies. They're going to be the ones that can't afford to pay every month. They're going to be the ones that aren't able to actually make the product work. As opposed to, you're going for a seasoned vet. You're going for somebody who's been in business successfully for 5+ years. They've already heard all the snake oil salesman pitches. They're not going to buy your product. They're the best people because they've got an established business. They're going to be able to pay month after month on time. They're going to be able to leverage your offer. But if you're using these tactics, you're attracting the people who are going to struggle, and you're pushing away the people who have already heard all of the false promises. So
that makes sense.
Good point. Thank you, Lily.
Yeah, that was cool.
Okay, so these tactics create obsession. They create control, mind control, but they destroy trust, and they attract the wrong type of people while pushing away the right type of people. So let's talk about the first one: intermediate reinforcement and going hot and cold.
Yeah, I see a relationship parallel for this is text one day and just disappears the next.
Yeah.
You're going to ghost me?
Yeah. First of all, I mean, when I told you about this, you're like, well, screw that person. If they're going to ghost me, I'm not going to talk to them.
Yeah.
But somebody who's not secure with themselves, that exact same situation makes them chase. If you're confident and somebody ghosts you, you're like, dude, I don't deserve being treated like this. I'm going to go do my own thing, whatever. But if you're not confident, immediately, am I not good enough? Why doesn't this person think I'm good enough? I need to prove that I'm good enough. I'm going to text her back right now, and then I'm going to text her again, and then I'm going to text
attention.
Yeah, exactly. So depending on the type of person, if you're marketing to insecure, unsophisticated people, this tactic of you're going to DM me and ask me about my offer, and then I'm going to ignore you for 3 days, and then I'm going to hit you back. That'll work for insecure, unsophisticated people. It will not work for people who value themselves, people who respect themselves. It's not going to work for them.
Yeah, the people you actually want to attract. Dang it.
Yep. The other thing too is the problem with this is it does create a craving. I mean, when you're not always available, when you're not Alex Hermosi posting 500 times a day, if Alex Hermosi takes a break and I don't see his content for 4 or 5 days, I'm like, I wonder what's going on with Alex Hermosi.
What happened to him?
Is he on vacation? Is he having a baby?
Talk of the town right now.
Yeah. Did he get in a car wreck? What's going on? Oh my God. And it's going to make me think about him. And it's going to make me wonder about him. But if it becomes a pattern of, here's a bunch of content, now I'm disappearing for a week, here's a bunch of content, that inconsistency, again, initially the emotional roller coaster gets me hooked in, but after a while, I'm going to start feeling burnt out. I'm going to start saying, no matter how much I love the highs and even kind of love the lows, eventually I'm just going to get burnt out, and I'm going to say, I'm better than this. I deserve better than this. I'm going to move on and find another content creator to get my business advice from.
If you expect me to show up 3 times a week and I'm not, you're going to lose trust, and I'm not going to be as reliable.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. False future projection. This one is, again, I don't think that everybody who does this does it intentionally trying to manipulate. I think a lot of times the people that do this actually are doing it out of their own insecurities, and then it works with somebody else who's also insecure. So if you're an offer owner, if you've got a business and you're not secure about what you can actually do, and you start feeling in the middle of your sales presentation that other people, you might promise the stars. Oh, wait, I'm losing their attention. I need to make a grand promise to pull them back in. And relationship parallels. People do this when they first start dating sometimes too.
Trying to love bomb you in the first few months, talk a marriage on the second date.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, never mind.
Hyping up some unrealistic outcomes just to hook people.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I'm on the second date. I feel like maybe she's losing interest. She keeps looking at her phone. I'm like, yo, my grandpa's about to die. He's going to leave me this house and this big inheritance. And maybe we could get married and live in that house together.
Okay, go off.
If obviously the reason I would do that
Yeah.
is because I'm freaking terribly insecure.
Totally.
The only reason that would work on somebody is if they're also insecure. Oh my gosh, this guy thinks that I'm just being so sexist today. Oh my gosh, this guy thinks that I'm worthy of giving his grandpa's inheritance to.
Yeah. I have to take this opportunity.
Yeah.
What am I going to do without it?
It's only the second date and he's already if you're insecure, that'll work. But again, if you know your value, that's not going to work. That's going to give you the ick. You're going to be like, yo, what the heck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
He doesn't even know how cranky I get when I don't have a Butterfinger.
Like that's funny. It reminds me of saying I love you on the second date. Like it's flattering, I guess, but what's your motivation? I feel like this isn't long term anymore.
Right.
This is for the night. Like
Right,
what
right.
happened?
Exactly. And again, if you're secure in yourself, that's the reaction you're going to get. If you're not secure in yourself, oh my God, he loved me. He fell in love with me after 2 dates. This was meant to be.
Yes.
My tarot card reader was right. Okay. No diss on tarot card readers. But okay. Anyways. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into scarcity as manipulation.
Cool.
This one is my biggest pet peeve when it comes to marketing. This is a thing that when I see people do it and I know it's just a manipulation tactic, it drives me insane. Before we get into the marketing example, let's talk about personal relationship using scarcity as a way to manipulate people.
Oh yeah. Threatening to gain control. Threatening to leave to gain control.
Yeah. If you don't do what I want, I'm going to leave.
Bye.
I'm going to take the kids. I'm not going to pay child support, whatever. More toxic examples. I'm going to kill myself if you don't come back to me.
Yeah.
I've had girls pull that on me before. And it's just like, all right, well, this is the hardest thing, especially if you actually do care about somebody and somebody threatens like something extreme. Like, not only am I going to take myself away from you, I'm going to take myself away from everybody.
Yeah.
That is a very, very manipulative tactic. And in the moment, if you can be like, yo, if I take this person back, I'm inviting a bunch of toxicity into my life.
Yeah.
In that one situation where I had that happen, I was just like, I really hope you don't do this, but there's no way. And this just sealed the deal. There's no way.
For sure. I can't help you if you can't help yourself, babe.
Exactly. Yeah. But people will do this, maybe not to that extreme, but in relationships all the time, they threaten to withdraw something. Maybe it's themselves. Maybe it's, okay, parents do this. I'm going to take away your Nintendo Switch.
My dad used to take away my shoes.
Oh my gosh. That's horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible because he would crease them.
Oh no.
Mean dude.
All right.
We love him.
Okay. So threatening to take away something to gain control, threatening to limit access to something to gain control over people.
Yeah.
But the reason that people do this is because it does work. And I'm not 100% against it in marketing as long as it's legitimate. Look, we're a very small boutique. We can work with 4 or 5 people at a time.
Right.
We don't say we can only work with 4 people. So we've got 1 slot left. Get yourself in before. We don't do that as a manipulation tactic. It is what it is. We've only got so much time. We've only got so much capacity. We can only work with so many people. I've got a webinar coming up on Zoom. We've got 100 slots. The plan that I have on Zoom only holds 100 people. We've got 83 sold out. We just did the DGC Cup.
Yep.
We had max capacity was 500 people. We were shooting for 420. We hit 500, by the way.
Beautiful.
Yes. But we had to stop selling tickets. And the last week, with most things, the last week is when you're going to see the biggest uptick in sales.
Right.
We started seeing a flood of sales. We had to stop them. We had to be like, all right, we can't sell any more tickets.
What a good problem to have.
I know, but leading up to it, that was one of the things. Oh, tickets are increasing. We can only do 500 people.
Yeah.
If you don't get your tickets now, you might miss out. You'll have to wait till next year. Scarcity, legitimate scarcity.
Yep.
Versus,
I'm also thinking like deadlines too. Sorry, I don't know if this was
No,
your
no, no,
point,
that's
but
fine.
deadlines, like if you tell somebody, oh, Friday at midnight, this is the cutoff, and Saturday at 1 p.m. I go and hang, and I'm like, oh, I can still join.
yeah, okay, so that's the one that always gets me the most.
Yeah.
Well, two actually. We'll hit that one, then we'll hit the other one. If you tell me the deadline is Friday,
Yeah.
and then Saturday I get an email and it's like, it was such a success, we decided to extend it for 3 more days.
Oh, really?
What does
that's
that
so
do?
frustrating because next time you give me a deadline or something, I don't trust that. I don't even need to acknowledge it. You literally trained me to show me that's not important anymore. Don't pay
Exactly.
attention to my deadlines.
So fake scarcity followed up with a violation of your promise.
Yeah.
Trains people not to trust you. It might get you some extra sales before Friday. It might even get you some extra sales Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah.
But next time you run a promotion, it's going to hurt your sales.
Makes sense to me.
The other one that I just can't stand is when it's like, I've got this digital download limited to the first 500 people. It's
Oh.
like, there's no reason to limit it to 500 people.
Yeah.
Plus it's a PDF. As soon as my friend downloads it,
You can share it.
he's just going to, yeah, exactly. So it's a scarcity that doesn't make sense. Boss is out of town for the weekend. We're going to clear out the inventory. Make sure you get in before he comes back on Monday.
Ooh.
See how I just assumed the boss
It's like
would be
a
a
sneaky
guy.
one.
Um,
They're coming for you.
I know. It's all good. That's a good example of scarcity. But if you show up on Saturday and the boss is there running the sale, okay, now I don't trust you. Next time you do a boss is gone for the weekend sale, I don't.
Why would I believe you?
Yep.
You've given me every reason in the book not to.
So scarcity does trigger fear of missing out. I better get it before Saturday. I better get it before the 300 slots that are available are sold out.
Right.
It does trigger fear of missing out, but if you go back on it, or if the reason that you're offering scarcity or that you're pushing scarcity doesn't make sense, it triggers more red flags and ends up making people not trust you in the long run. Man, this episode is going long. This is going to be like a 45-minute episode.
This was a good one.
Okay, so we're almost done here. We're going to talk about magnetic leadership triggers. These are the more neutral. I said we're going to talk about some gray area.
Yeah.
So these are the ones that, depending on your intent, can be ethical or can be very manipulative. And it really depends on what your intent, what your motive is when you're using these. And we're going to start off with mirroring. Lily, are you familiar with what mirroring is?
Values and language. Put me on. What's mirroring?
Okay, so people like us.
Okay, yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, the quickest way to gain somebody's trust is to have something that is in common with them. In NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, are you
Okay.
familiar?
No.
Okay.
You're schooling me
I'm going to
here.
have to put you onto a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A really sneaky tactic that people will do when they're trying to gain rapport with you is they will match and then start leading. So I sit down, I see how you're holding yourself, I start holding myself the same way.
Okay.
I see your breathing pattern, I start breathing in the same pattern with you. I see a manipulative thing that people can do is, especially nowadays, like go on social media and find the things that you're interested in. And then when I meet up with you, oh, I saw you water skiing. My kid loves to water ski. Or,
Totally.
I saw that your son went to Harvard. My son went to Harvard too. And just totally make it up. But mirroring, finding things that you can mirror about them. And then once you're in sync, then you can take leadership and then they start unconsciously following you.
Oh, I like that.
So you start by following them. You find your overlay or your overlap, and then you slowly start moving them in your direction. And it's a classic sales technique. People will use it in relationships. A lot of times, again, back to the insecurity thing, a lot of times people will sacrifice themselves. They'll be agreeable to things that they probably shouldn't be agreeable to try and impress and try and make the other person Again, this is one of those things that blows up in your face, though. It's been my experience watching and having been foolish enough to try it a couple of times. Sacrificing your values and trying to be agreeable usually might avoid a fight, but it also makes the person lose respect for you.
Ooh.
And so the same thing in sales, if you're an established person and you've been pitched 50 times and you see somebody coming in and trying to mirror and trying to come up with shared values and be like, my son went to Harvard too.
Totally.
And then you're like, oh yeah, which fraternity? And they don't know any of the fraternities.
Busted.
Exactly. So again, for an insecure person, somebody unsophisticated in the market, this will work really well. In general, if it's authentic, if it's, hey, these are my values, and I know that most of my market agrees with these values, the people who don't, they can get bent.
Yeah, they're not my tribe.
Exactly. If you use it that way, perfect. But if you use it where you're making stuff up or you're intentionally sacrificing your own values to try and get the sale, it will make people lose respect for you in the long run. So that is my one caveat on that one. Did you have anything to say before we moved on to the next one?
No, I like your relationship parallel here. It's like you're in my head. Yeah.
And if that's legit, a lot of times I'll start to say something and then you're like, ooh, we should do this. And I'm like, fuck.
Totally.
You stole that thought from my brain.
We're on the same wavelength here.
Exactly.
Totally.
So when it's legitimate and it's authentic, it's magic.
Yeah.
But when it's fake, when it's forced,
You can feel it.
you can feel it. And you might not feel it right away, but then afterwards, when the person's replaying it in their head, they're like, did they just say that? Did their son really go to Harvard?
It'll bite you in the butt later.
Exactly. So be careful with it. Next one, polarity, enemy framing. We talked about values and villains earlier.
Yeah, that us versus them.
In like the Romeo and Juliet is a great example of this. The us versus the world.
Yeah.
We are here together. Your family hates it. My family hates it. The whole world hates that we're together, but we've got this fucking thing going on.
Exactly.
And it's us against the world. That can be one of the most powerful things to bring two people, offer owner and a customer together. That like can solidify something. Us against the world.
Yeah. We're on the same team here. Let me help you. You help me. Let's crush this together.
Exactly.
Let's kick our villain's ass.
And again, if it's used ethically, that's fine. In marketing, one of the ways that I like to use it ethically is like we talked about earlier. One of the ways that I do it in my thing is I call out all the crappy right now, what we're doing with this episode is we're calling out all the crappy marketing techniques.
What we like and what we don't.
Exactly. And business owners who have been burnt by bad marketers, crappy marketers that'll take their money and run.
Yep.
Business owners who have been through that, which are the type of ones that we want. We want established business owners, not
sophisticated.
Yeah. They're going to hear that and they're going to be like, yes, they're throwing stones at those bad marketers that I freaking can't stand.
Yep.
So it's us against the world. It's us against the entire industry of marketers who make false promises and don't really understand what they're doing. And it's a guy who just graduated from college, got his marketing degree, learned everything from a professor, has no real world experience and doesn't actually understand what. You're going to go with that, or you're going to go with some people that are established and really know what they're doing. Us against the world.
I like it.
Okay. If you're going to do it, again, know your target market's values, know their villains. Stand up and help them throw stones at their villains. Stand up and plant a flag on the hill that represents those values. And it is great. I will say this, though. It's great marketing. In politics, this has become the like main thing over the last 15, 20 years is our team can do nothing wrong. The other team is evil. And this us versus them polarization, we're the good guys, they're on the wrong side of history. And both sides doing it to each other has led to a not very awesome society to live in. Oof. So again, be careful with it because it's powerful, but it's like Mickey Mouse in the in the Wizard's Apprentice.
That was good.
Where he learns a little bit of magic and then it gets out of his control. This tactic can get out of your control real quick. You can end up with community infighting. You can end up with drama that's unnecessary that detracts from the mission. So be careful when using polarity It's an important key factor, but if it's not wielded properly with the right responsibility, it can end up blowing up in your face.
That makes sense. I think there's I don't know, it's good to draw some lines here in the sand, because then you'll attract some people and you'll kick out the other people who really aren't meant to be part of your clique.
Mm-hmm. And it builds belonging through contrast. It does say, hey, if you're this, you belong over there.
Yeah.
But if you're not this, you belong over here. And so by having that contrast, it lets me know, well, am I on team blue or am I on team red? Am I on team whatever versus team whatever? It does help me feel more identified with your brand if your brand's values line up with my own values.
Totally.
But again, the bad side is it can encourage cult-like defensiveness and blind loyalty, which can be a good thing, but also can get out of control really quick.
Makes sense.
All right. We talked about this one a little bit earlier too. The power of absence.
Yeah.
Ghosting. Okay. So here's the thing. I feel like in a relationship, it's good to have time separate from each other.
Yeah.
It's good to have, hey, I'm going to go out and do my thing for a little while. You're absolutely not interested in this. I'm not going to drag you along.
Yeah, it's okay to have different hobbies, different interests.
And I'm not going to also sacrifice that thing that's very important to me just so that I can sit at home miserable on the couch with you.
Right.
And both of us are pissed because
we're both missing out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good to have time spent together. It's also good to have time spent apart. So the power of absence, while I'm off doing my thing, and then when we come back together, oh, I miss you. I haven't seen
Makes
you
the
all
heart
day.
grow fonder.
Exactly. Versus, again, it can be a good thing. Healthy space helps build appreciation.
Yeah.
In marketing, sometimes the one thing I disagree with Alex Hormozy about is the 500 pieces of content today.
Every day, yeah.
I can't absorb all of it, and it makes me feel like he's too available.
Ooh.
And I don't value his content anymore.
Okay.
So that bothers me about his approach. Who am I to knock it? He's obviously doing way better than I am in business, so I'm not going to tell him he's wrong about it, but I am just going to say the way that I feel about it. If somebody's always in my face, always begging for my attention, makes me devalue them a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the dark side of this. When you use the silent treatment, when you see that they texted you and you're just like, I'm not going to text them, I'm going to make them text me 3 more times.
Ooh.
You can use this to manipulate. Again, though, it's going to manipulate emotionally insecure people, market unsophisticated people. It's going to attract the worst type of people. So again, this type of thing, absence, not making yourself available all the time, it will signal to the right people. It will signal, hey, this person respects themselves. They respect their time. They're not a dancing monkey on stage for me.
Right.
But used unethically, used as a manipulation tactic, it can attract the wrong type of people.
That makes sense.
Okay. I'm going to end the show on a high note. I feel like we went through a lot of good examples.
We did.
Again, everything that you learn here, use it with wisdom, or don't. It's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility to ensure how you use this stuff, but I prefer to use it with wisdom. I try to use it with responsibility. If I catch myself using it manipulatively, I try to stop myself. My main takeaway of this is all of these things work, but if you employ them manipulatively, you will attract toxic people. You'll attract insecure people. You'll attract the bottom of the barrel of your market, and your life will be a living hell because of it. And so I don't recommend it just out of purely selfish reasons. I don't want to deal with insecure people. I don't want to deal with trauma-filled people. I don't want to deal with bottom of the barrel prospects. So that's my biggest reason for not using this. But what about you? What's one scammy marketing tactic that drives you insane and you wish that people would just stop doing? Let us know in the comments. We'll be looking for you there. And thank you for spending your time with us today. I'm Nathan Frazier.
And I'm Lily Elizabeth.
And we're out of here.
We'll see you later.
Before we're out of here, do me a favor. If you like this video, let me know. Hit that like button. If you want to catch more videos like this, smash that subscribe button. If you know a business owner or a marketer who could benefit from what we talked about in today's video, share it with them. And check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommending. I bet you'll dig them.